Great day everyone! Welcome back to Ramz tutorial. If you are new here in my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you are updated in my latest videos. Today we're going to discuss about comparing with adjectives. In comparing with adjectives, we have positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. In positive degree class, it is what we called refers to a base word or no comparison is made. That means to say, talking about the word base word is what we call a word that can stand with its own or has its own meaning. That's a base word. So we have an example of positive degree class. She comes from a very rich family. In our sentence, she comes from a very rich family means to say that our positive degrees here, the positive adjective here is the word rich. Why? Rich is what we call no comparison. It talks about she. She is our subject pronoun, referring to that woman, referring to that girl. The word rich is what we call the base word. It has its own meaning. That's positive. There is no comparison at all. Next is comparative degree. Comparative degree is used to compare two things. Remember, when comparing two things, the items can either be equal or unequal. Equal comparison uses the positive adjective together with the word as. So for example, in comparing equal, I have an example here. We have the princess was as beautiful as she was gracious. So I'm going to write class, the princess was as beautiful as she was. Okay, that's our example. The princess was as beautiful as she was. So that means to say that princess was beautiful as she was. That means to say we are comparing equal, princess and she, using the word as. That's a positive adjectives together with the word as. That's referring to equal. Next, guys, is an equal comparison. So that means to say unequal, not the same. We need to compare. That means to say the comparative form of the adjectives. Adjectives class are what we call a describing words. We describe something, okay, whether objects refers to persons or places. So it's followed by a word than. When we say that word than, we refer only to persons or to things involved. But remember, if the adjective follows a linking verb, you know, class linking verb is a be verbs forms, right? Example. We have an example that using an equal comparison. I'm going to write first here, Carol is smaller than Rose Ann. This is a very nice name. Rose Ann. Okay. From our sentence, Carol is smaller than Rose Ann. That means to say, by using than, we compared an equal comparison between Carol and Rose Ann. Carol is smaller than Rose Ann. That means to say Rose Ann is bigger than Carol. Okay? That is an equal comparison. It's what we call not the same. Okay? Now we are going to present class to superlative degree. But before that, remember that superlative degrees are composed of or it's referring to three or more than things or objects. If here, if I'm mistaken, yeah, very good. Superlative degree compare three or more things. Okay? That means to say we referred three or more than three things. That is superlative degree by using est suffixes. The word that ends with est. So for example, like yes, acs, like that. That is superlative with est, like biggest, smallest, like that. So I have here an example of superlative degree that compare three or more things. But remember, in superlative adjectives typically end with the suffix. Like what I said, guys, it ends with est form. Let's have first another example. Okay, I think we have first the. I like vocal. Vocal coach said that Jessica was technically the best singer of all. That means to say na we refer that Jessica from the word best singer of all. Okay, that means to say this best is what we call, okay, showing a superlative degree. Another, so I have another example, so I did as examples. So I have another idea that ends with est from the positive degree easy. Easy is here, easiest. So I'm going to form superlative. So I'm going to compare three or more than things. So for example, just like we talk on exam, this test is the easiest ever. This test is the easiest test, rather, ever. Yeah, okay? This test is the easiest test ever. The word easiest, it shows about superlative degree form, right? It ends with est. But remember, guys, in superlative degree, not all est. We have first list. Okay, we compare three things or more than, like that. Say for example, in forming what we call comparative and superlative degree, we have first regular is what we call the positive, comparative two or more things, superlative three or more than. See, that is regular. Say for example, the regular positive adjective like new and rich is what we call class. If I'm not mistaken, it's one syllable only. One syllable. Okay? One syllable means, so we are going to add in comparative. I'm going to write here add. Here, just follow, guys. Then in superlative, I'm going to add here, close and open parentheses, add est, like that. So we have first again, new and rich. So in comparative class, when we add er to new, becomes, if I'm not mistaken, newer. From the word rich, mayaman, richer. Okay? But, chair, how about in superlative form? We add est. Is it we're going to copy newer and then we add est? And the answer is no. Because newer is comparative, but we are going to add est. We are going to omit er. All you have to do is to write the word new from positive or regular, then add ast, like that. Okay? So this will be the er. Newest. Yung rich, like this. This will be happen. Like that. Rich, richest. Okay? Next is fine and pale. In fine class, remember, these adjectives actually ends with e. We have first here na it ends with e, this adjective fine and pale. So we are going to add er. It becomes finer. Pale. It's become paler. What about in est? All we have to do is to write the word fine. That ends with e. est. Finest. Pale. Paler. Should be palest. est form. It's compare three or more than two or more things rather. There's no comparison here in regular. Next is dirty and funny. The word dirty and funny is an adjective positive. But remember, this dirty and funny ends with y. Okay? It ends with y. What happens here if it ends with y? Our adjective positive degree. So class, remember it, if it ends in y, you change y, I'm going to write here so that you will know, change y to I and add of course er. Here add est, like that. So if, so for example, dirty, we are going to write here dirtier, like that, I-E-R. Then funny, fun, we add er, funnier. What about in superlative? All you have to do is to copy dirtiest, I-E-S-T, because I is what we called from y, then add est to our superlative form. Dirtiest. Next, fun. Funniest. I-E-S-T form. Okay? Is that clear? Next class is the positive degree of respectful and painful. Chair. Too long word. Respectful and painful. Yes, remember class, when you encounter these words, respectful, two or more syllables. I'm going to write here, two or more syllables. That means to say, class, you are going to add. You can use most. Okay. Most or less. Okay. Then, and superlative form, you can add most also and least. Like that. Okay. From the word respectful and painful, in comparative form class, we're going to write here, all we have to do is to choose most. We're going to write most, then copy the positive adjective positive degree. We have first respectful, most respectful. Then painful, it's either most painful or less painful. Okay, that's our answer for comparative. Next, we have for our superlative form. So we can write them as the, we have here most respectful. And then next we have the least painful. That is how we are going to form superlative positive degree about respectful and painful, because remember class, it composed of two or more syllables. And that is how we are going to form their comparative and superlative degree of adjectives. Remember class, the word adjectives are what we called are describing word. Describing words. Or in Tagalog, this is pang-ori po. Okay? Okay. We are first here, salitang naglalarawan, that is describing words. Okay. Next, we have irregular adjectives. In verb, we have first irregular verbs. But in adjectives, we have also, again, I'll put it, describing words. Okay? Describe something, whether we are handsome, whether we are ugly, or whatsoever. It refers to a person, refers to things or objects or whatsoever. When we talk about irregular adjectives, that means to say the positive degree form of an adjective. When we are going to form their comparative and superlative degrees, remember guys, it should be changed. Their what we call their spelling. So for example, the positive degree here is good. What about in comparative chart? Talking about what we call irregular. That means to say from verb, they generally change their spelling, just like also in adjectives or pang-ori or describing words. Good means in comparative, this is what we call from good becomes better. What about in superlative? Good, better. Then remember class, this is what we call the superlative form of the word good. Better, best. What about bad? Okay, so I think we are first WORST, that means to say worst. And then for superlative, we can write WORST, that means to say worst. Far, so we can use farther, or like this one, farther. And then for superlative degree, we can write farthest, EST, farthest, or farthest is the form for our superlative, comparative and positive. No comparison, two comparison, three or more comparison. Little. Little means class in forming comparative and superlative degree. Since this is irregular, little becomes less. Then superlative class, you can write least, like that. Much, many. So we think much, many. So in comparative, so remember two or more than, we can write more. What about in superlative? So three or more than, we compared three things or more person. Most, like that, most handsome among all. Next, the word old. We can write older, or we can write also elder. Next, or oldest, by applying EST-ER. Then, or eldest, from ER, then from eldest. Remember, my dear students or my dear viewers, okay, this is very much important why I discuss adjectives. not only for remembering us or reminding us how we describe a persons, how we describe things, how we describe objects, but most of all, how we are going to compare it one by one by using the most appropriate adjectives, which is positive, comparative, and superlative. Remember, guys, English is our medium of instructions. So we need to exercise. We need something to do what we call the ways on how to make ourselves be comfortable. And of course, we can communicate well to others, especially in other countries. That's why I need to discuss this, especially to our viewers, to my dear students, of course. It will help you a lot in doing your assignment. Remember, without what we call grammar or without language, so I think it's difficult for us to understand. That's why I do this. It's just because just helping you learn, and of course, to help young learners. So once again, guys, thank you, and thank you for watching again for my videos. Bye bye, and see you on my next vlog.